welcome to another episode of the Always Be Testing podcast. I'm your host, DeGrange, and I'm very excited to have Cormac Jonas on today. What's up, Cormac? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you, Ty?
You know, life is good. We're warming up here in Austin, Texas, recording from two separate secret locations in the same city, but it's all good.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's not that. I stay by the dam. Hill Country exclusively. So, I know you like a lot of the new folks to town. You're more East Side exclusive, and so it's okay. It's so we can keep tacos and burritos all living comfortably in one area.
It's a balance, there's been,
It is.
you ask somebody who their favorite barbecue is in Austin or their favorite breakfast taco, and you get some
And they're
strong
wrong.
opinions.
They're wrong. They're just wrong. It's okay. But
Just say that and move on.
Yeah, well,
Now
it's horses for courses. I mean, but everybody has their favorites. But it's yes, a debate. Wait till you go to San Antonio and tell them that we have breakfast tacos, and they like laugh you out of the room. So yeah, the inter-Texas rivalries and good-natured who has the best is one of the upsides.
That's awesome. And I'm actually more hill country than you might recall. I'm actually over sort of near you on the northwest side, but I work downtown, which is basically walking distance to the east side. So it's
I was stereotyping you with the rest of the Californians. I get it.
It's okay. It happens.
But no, it's a great town. It's a fun place, and it's I love it here. Like being out 370 or 365 days a year, you can be outside. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and then just because we went there, now we have to share. What is your favorite, or maybe a notable breakfast taco or barbecue spot for those that
I will come in hot. I will tell you the best barbecue in town. Mum Foods, by far. They're on the east side, but they go to a lot of the farmers markets. They're excellent. Go out to whatever farmers, Lakeline, Bee Cave. They're close. It's excellent. They have great food. Breakfast tacos, also probably a little off. Phrases. Either one. I like the one where you can stand in traffic on Lamar, the best, with the drive-through that's super weird. But their breakfast tacos are amazing. And
that's a great choice.
Underutilized. They're a great lunch choice, and so they get under-indexed on breakfast. So there's no line, which for Austin is also rare.
Great calls. Those are awesome takes, and Fresses is a great choice. I couldn't.
What about you?
More.
I'm not the only one putting down a marker here.
Wow. I'm gonna go. Okay. So, I feel like. So I'm gonna go with. I will say this, that I Salt Lake's hard to beat. I know that's kind of a name deal. I also was pleasantly surprised with Cooper's. I have to say, like, for them to be like downtown, you don't really hear anyone talk about them. Terry Blacks, I kind of lean towards Blacks a little bit, and those are some of the ones that I like. But I'm still
they're great.
I'm still kind of getting the lay of the land.
Cooper's is really good. They actually brought the pit from Llano in, like to the downtown one. So that it's new to us, but it's not new. It had been out there for quite a while, and so they actually brought the physical pit with them when they came, and so they do a great job. Yeah, it really is. It's kind of like they're all so good. It's just kind of it's fine hairs that draw them, and those little distinctions are where you really get like people to argue. Where it's over minutia, big things we're terrible at arguing about, but minutia were great.
That's a great line. That's a great quotable for the pod. Amazing. We'll get back into the fun stuff and the life stuff, but let's kick off to your background. So for those of you who don't know, Cormac has got an amazing background. Was at Partnerize, has a ton of affiliate and performance marketing experience, and was also in-house at TikTok, which is obviously exploding for all the reasons we talk about in growth and performance marketing. He's opened up his own consultancy and agency around helping brands with TikTok. So this is going to be a juicy one. Buckle up. We're diving in and talking about all things TikTok among other topics like breakfast tacos. Um, it's going to be fun. And yeah, I think you're in for a treat today. Maybe to kick off, Cormac, how did you get into performance marketing?
Yeah, I got into performance marketing a million years ago from the lead gen side of things at a company called Blue Keel. I went on to join a larger company that got acquired by Zeta Interactive, and then came kind of built on that. Came to Austin, I guess 2013, to go to work for Retail Me Not, and that was really kind of where e-commerce wise and really data wise really learned an absolute ton and kind of foundationally understood. I always like to say, like, we had to know attribution back in like 2013 because everybody hated coupons. And so now that all these brands are like, how do we do attribution? It's like, oh, the affiliate world's well aware. Like, large scale affiliates, they can all tell you exactly how to attribute and use UTMs and all of that good stuff because they've depended on it for years. But from there, also worked across a wide variety of kind of mainstream brands at an agency in New York called Within. Now it's been very fun doing both brand consulting and then also additionally doing some NIL consulting for both TikTok, but also just in general. I'm sure magically Instagram relaunched Shops like with no notice and no fanfare, and then YouTube has turned on Shops as well. And I'm sure folks have seen like it. I don't know, but for any of you, the listeners or viewers who see this, Amazon's already testing it, and if that's not enough reason for you to do it, like, why not? It works, and it is non-cannibalizing. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah, let's drill down like that comment.
Sure.
It's non-cannibalizing because that's a really good point to make to people in the audience. Like, tell us a little bit more about how you think about that and how brands need to be thinking about that.
Yeah, I mean, kind of at the top line, one of the big misses, and if you've ever been to my LinkedIn, like, it's not 1997. I do love UTM parameters, and still in this day and age, less than like 5% of brands total use them on their socials, let alone TikTok, where it's even lower. And it's one of the reasons that they missed a lot of the traffic coming from TikTok. The rise of TikTok can also be charted with most brands and the rise of their magical direct traffic shift, because Google is down over the last 3 years about 50% in total search volume. That hasn't evaporated. It's just moved to other platforms, primarily TikTok, but additionally Reddit. Some's gone to Instagram, some's gone to Meta. But where it's no longer, it's kind of almost a generational shift. And we can get into the philosophical debate of generations don't ever like the previous generation's tools, which doesn't bode well for Google. They tend to find their own new ways of doing things. So there's a bit of a shift on that side. And it's additionally the fact that what we're seeing is kind of with AI and then also the paid reviewed side of the world, text is being devalued. Web text anyway is being devalued by search engines because it's easy to replicate, and AI is kind of, you can buy reviews. They're super easy to copy and paste. So the uniqueness of content goes away as a lot of the coupon folks that you have there. And then on the other side, the expectations of users are different. If you think about your own behaviors, you're more likely to transact more quickly or believe more quickly a UGC video. This person liked this product so much they took the time to build a video about it. And Google's noticed those signals. They started the Helpful Content Project like 2 years ago, and started rolling it in. And much like Google Web Vitals, very few companies paid any attention or made any updates or did any of those things. And then when everything switched, I mean, I don't know. I see it like once a week on LinkedIn where people are like, where did my web traffic go? And, fundamentally, the answer is you had a single source of traffic. And it changed its rules.
Yep. Kind of important to have the diversification for a number of reasons.
Yeah, it is. And I will say it's also, I mean, yes. And it was funny because I even noticed it within affiliate, years ago, where Google was almost thought of as a utility, not as another private company that could easily move into a space. And I've even seen that kind of since, looking like SGEs have been, with the AI summaries and SGEs rolling out recently. Of course, they rolled an attached ad product this week too that they're going to put into beta testing. And so effectively what they've done is, and it's unfortunate for a lot of affiliates because I think a lot will get swept up in this, publisher sites, but they're taking clicks out of the funnel. They're just delivering that same information at scale higher in the funnel in their mind and keeping a greater share of the revenue. And, it's natural for the market forces that they're facing and the level of competition. They can no longer just, kind of a lot of the affiliate space was overflow SEO traffic in a lot of cases. And not that there's not a value to optimizing that, but as markets tighten, you need to have other avenues to support and diversify.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe give people some, what was kind of like the aha moment for you when you kind of saw what was happening with TikTok, maybe pre you going there,
It
and kind
wasn't
of
pre.
what was that moment?
It wasn't pre. So weirdly, I missed a lot of it because I was building like a startup for the 2 years when it really took off. Like I was tangentially aware of it, but I mean, despite internet reviews, my dance skills are not TikTok level. And so, I'm not really a creator on that in that way. It was once I got there. Once I got there, it was the audience size, and it was shocking to me because they're publishing data, and this was Q2 of last year when it crossed over 140 minutes of dwell time per day on an audience that's 50 million daily active users across 9 opens. And just hearing that, I went, okay, that's the greatest collection of attention ever gathered in one place in the world. And to hear brands saying like, oh, we can't figure this out is, or like, the data just doesn't support it. It's kind of a cop out, in my mind. And so once I saw that, I really wanted to understand how it flowed. And so thankfully being there, I was able to, kind of our remit as an org was, growing revenue. But you can't grow revenue investment without the organic piece. And so, helping them understand what content worked, what are the formats, how do they test, how do they build those in, test into their strategy, and then how do they pull data out, right? And people always have data safety questions and others and, concerns. But for the most part, be ubiquitous in your data. Every platform feeds the same data into the same source of truth. Doesn't matter where it comes from. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of blind spots. And then from there, whatever attribution framework you've chosen to overlay and values you put on, then you overlay and you measure out your LTV or your, LTV over CAC, however you're doing it, and, kind of figure out your channel strategy.
Yeah, it's a great call out. I mean, we're seeing so much of similar trends and positivity with the data that you've talked about and touted, educated folks on, and we've talked about it at length. And it's just so fantastic from our view, having focused on the affiliate and the paid side. It's kind of a channel made in heaven for us in terms of what it can bring to the table. And you and I've talked about it being its own affiliate network. Maybe tell us a little bit about that piece of it from the perspective of the affiliate community and the affiliate network.
So yes, twofold. For any of the affiliates or partners, I will tell you, your favorite retail media networks do not want you to know where they're getting a huge amount of their traffic. It's from this giant traffic engine that runs on mobile phones. So it can work for them as well. From an easy standpoint, they publish all of the search, trend, video, all of that data is public and published on the TikTok Business Center, the Ads Manager. Looking there every week, it's led by discounts, coupons, for free shipping. yet almost none of the, I mean, I'm sure there's a handful, but really the brands that are doing it the best at scale are non-traditional affiliate publishers. And so I think there's a huge amount that affiliate publishers could bring and understand. It's just fundamentally how the content is being delivered is a bit different. I'd love to see more tests in there, but the volume of traffic that they can pull in off of there could more than replace Google, like more than replace it.
Now, that's a whole other angle that we haven't really talked about, which is tangential to the question, which is publishers have some challenges right now that, for obvious reasons, with Google, with core update algorithm changes. Why not double down on something that can help supplement that gap or improve or be a mitigator?
Yep. And from the affiliate network side, so just to simply lay it out, TikTok is a walled garden. You have to be an app user in order to access it. Shops is contained within that, at least for now. With Meta, Insta, any of these, they're contained on platform, and brands from there can drive checkout on platform with creators and users on those. So effectively, they've all become affiliate networks overnight. It is on their O&O, their O&O stuff. And guess what? Unfortunately, and for the, I mean, I remember like averaging like 7 or 8% commission rates. They're paying like 20% commission rates on these social networks because they're all growth channels for them. Like hearing, like, again, affiliate publishers being like, we can't figure this out at 3x the conversion rate or commission rate. You should be able to. You should be able to get in front of these. The value props are very much the same. And so there's a lot there. I think it'll continue to kind of grow out of the space. But social commerce, much like Google did, they're removing clicks from the funnel. Why do I outclick you to your page when, it's much more efficient for you to just pay me on a transaction right here? My intent's the highest. It's the candy bar at the checkout aisle right here. Once I click you out 2 or 3 times, 1/3 of the people make it. And then, performance drops.
No, it's a great call out. What are some of those, breakout successes for brands that have done it right or have kind of struck a vein with TikTok that you've seen and you want to share and kind of educate the community on a little bit?
Yeah, a couple at a top line, and to draw, like, not my ideas. I didn't work on these, but if they want to look at like a top line of brands that are kind of doing well and dominating, Elf has to be like at the top of the list. Elf, like kind of TikTok first. They also, it's funny. They do a very good job of sharing very little about how they drive traffic. It's smart, but they notice the helpful content trend way before anybody else. So a couple of these kind of tips and tricks are the brands that lean most heavily into creators, audience, and data. See success. The other one that just has to be in their brain, Meta is a social graph. TikTok is an interest graph, and how you build audiences on the two is not the same at all. And so understanding what works. The other one that still to this day blows my mind, and this works across all of them, is listen to the platform you're going to buy from. TikTok, Meta, YouTube have all this year said you get increased organic views for any video that has a product link. But it doesn't seem to have caught on in the way they're like, well, we wouldn't add a product link to this video. If I'm getting a 30 or 40% boost in organic views, it should be in every single video until I'm proven wrong otherwise, right? Until I start seeing a change or anything else, because Meta needs people to buy on the platform, same as TikTok, same as YouTube. Whoever wins that largely is going to win the race out the other side of, who's Amazon 2.0. And it is for a new generation. The space race is on, and a lot of brands really kind of, for whatever reason, haven't noticed. And, there's time to make up. but you can
Yeah.
dominate a category on TikTok SEO because it is green field for the vast majority of articles right now.
Yeah, and maybe that's a good segue. You talk about TikTok SEO. Maybe
Yeah.
let's talk about like the importance of organic in particular, maybe like the high level things. What's like Cormac's checklist for kind of attacking TikTok? If you're
Yeah.
committed, you're ready, it's time. How would you think about that and kind of think about the organic side as well?
Yeah. So it's three. It's number one. You have there. There are three basic reasons that people will come to your TikTok page. Entertainment. Why everybody's there. They love to be entertained. The For You page does a great job of serving up, things that will keep you watching, and magically haptics that will keep you interacting every 15 to 30 seconds. Number two is educate. They want to learn. And so, I have bespoke strategies for brands that make it very, very easy for them to, kind of lay out simply in the way, kind of how to do it. And kind of the third tier is recommendations. And that is done via UGC. The phenomenon of TikTok made me buy it isn't new, isn't going away. And really, until I hate to sound negative, but until AI figures out a way to kill it, like it did with text reviews and text coupons, it'll probably be fine. But UGC reviews currently hold more sway with consumers than almost anything else, and brands really aren't actively cultivating them. I haven't seen a lot of brands offering, upload a TikTok review or an Instagram review. It's leave us a review on our webpage. And 3 months ago, Google told us that shit doesn't matter anymore. Like, I don't know, like you have to be more nimble than that as a marketing org. If Google says this doesn't matter, then you need to be able to go, well, what's the new version of this, and begin testing it.
Yeah, it's good theme for the pod to be testing.
Have to be, yeah.
It's spot on, and so like maybe taking a little bit of the devil's advocate view, but also the educational view around the question of attribution, right? Obviously, we talked about that a lot, and the importance of classic things like UTMs. When brands plug in and they're kind of seeing this go head to head against their other channels, and they're actually setting it properly, what are some of the like ahas or conclusions you've seen that illustrate the value from an incrementality and an attribution perspective?
Yeah, I would say the easiest one to identify, and quickest, fastest, dirtiest way for brands to do this. Almost all of them have post-purchase surveys. Be intentional about asking what platform. Ask them where, when, did you find this on TikTok? Do you mind sharing the video? Share, never know. They may just post it to you.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, this was the account. So that's number one. So intake those. The second one that I'm always amazed by, kind of, is that they're not when you're measuring these things, like if you're not using UTMs or and rigor across all your platforms, it's not going to get caught. And so the minute you have leaking data, your bets are, it's a cascading effect of negativity. And in difficulty in forecasting ROAS, tracking all of this. Mm-hmm. So I like to make sure, data rigor, do things the right way every time, post back pixels, events API should be, ubiquitous across platforms. You can, from an attribution standpoint, that's how you can begin. Attribution, multi-touch, any of those, there's a bit of art and science to it. The science part's the data. The art is that we decide what matters as an org, right? If you and I are designing an attribution model, we weight it in the way that makes sense for our business. But if you're not, so it works within a lot of them. Generally, though, TikTok right now is both sitting very effectively at both the discovery and research phase of your funnel. They're likely impacting it much more than you can possibly see. And there's simple, easy things brands can do to correct for that. But it almost, it's been weird to see the lack of transition, at least on my side. I would have thought people would run to that, but they have not.
Yeah, no,
I thought they would have gotten there quicker.
Yeah, you have a really interesting point. I think we've talked about this, like how slow people have been to adopt in some cases, and um,
Yeah.
the law of shitty click throughs and the wave of the channels that come and go. It's like become almost a unquestionable law that if a channel emerges with high engagement, high eyeballs, and you're first to kind of crack the code on it, and you're actually taking advantage of it, as you mentioned as Elf the example, and
Yeah.
others are following suit, you're gonna certainly benefit significantly. So it's interesting that there's a slowness of adoption there that it happens, but it's interesting to see.
Yeah. Well, I have two that I always loved from attribution, and I have a very a good friend and mentor who shared this with me, and so I have to thank him for this after. But a good one to do for attribution among teams is the team with the highest, like channel with the highest attributed spend gets credit for all unattributed sales. And it solves your problem because every team will make sure that they attribute high enough. And so you're like 93, 94%. You're not having to attribute that much in unattributed sales out. Like, so it becomes a tangible bonus for teams, but it's also one that drives a positive behavior for your business. And so at a top line, a lot of orgs don't really look at doing that. Driving, more often than not, your channel teams are far too siloed than kind of cohesively like sharing strategy or even looking at overlap. Affiliates know this all the time. Oh, you're stepping on our email team. You'll hear from folks and be like, I don't understand what you mean. Like are we driving outcomes for them? Like that they were hoping to attribute to them? Like that, and so I tend to try and understand because, you're not going to change user behaviors. Like when they start doing things a way that is easy or useful for them, they will continue in that fashion. And as marketers, we should move to first measure it and see that we can measure and understand, because without that, we can't really place the bets. And for too many, I get it. Your meta rep is aligned with one thing, and that's getting the most money out of you humanly possible. And I promise any of your platform reps at any of them are there. And so you don't want to believe them when they tell you to, hey, you should go cookieless, or, oh, they're just robbing me. And, but in reality, yes, both can be true. They're trying to rob you, but they're also right about going cookieless and getting on a postback pixel, and doing things. There's other things you can do to make sure those platforms aren't robbing you, and putting controls in place on cost controls and blocking MFA sites, from blacklisting a bunch of MFA sites that'll really clean up a lot of that junk traffic that's out there now too.
Yeah, certainly got to be mindful and vigilant about cleaning up the stuff that's not going to be valuable and quality and incremental. This is awesome, and you've had some awesome experiences in looking at sports, looking at professional sports, looking at how teams and brands kind of embrace TikTok. Tell us a little bit about like how you're doing that, how you're approaching that for your clients, how you've done that in the past, and how you think about that.
Yeah, and I will say one thing I've learned throughout. I'm usually pretty good at finding simple solutions. I have gotten better and better over the years. People hate simple solutions, I learned. And so you have to, but in a lot of these for them, it really is. It's the understanding that they are really a multi-category retailer, not a sports team. They're a multi-category retailer with a very strong organic fan base. And so generally, starting getting signals, getting those things set up because it's eminently important, because they're, as a marketing org, almost always massively under-resourced to support a D2C operation, a ticketing operation, fan engagement operations. And then also in a lot of cases, I saw one from an agency on LinkedIn that was like, Brian did everything. Great video, by the way. So like that person's also then going out to the games and content creating. And like, it's too much, and it doesn't let you actually like scale and execute in a lot of those cases. So, giving them game plans and easy ways to set things up and kind of here's how to do it. Additionally, how to interact with the comment section. Going out, engaging with users, asking them questions, going cross-channel with that. I never understand. Brands like, oh, well, that lives in social or this lives in search. Like, where Meta launches all their new products? On TikTok. They buy full page ads because they want everyone to see it that day. And if Mark can get over it, y'all can too. Like, I know that dude doesn't like paying TikTok any money, but he's doing it because it works. And so brands need to really, the faster they get to outcomes, which I know has been, affiliate driven in that lingo, but outcome driven marketing. I always like to tell folks you need to be channel agnostic and checkout agnostic, because your fan base, unless you're giving them some sort of over the top reason to do things in a more difficult fashion, will do things in the easiest way they can.
They don't care about your org structure or your priorities.
They're not on your OKRs. Value. Right.
When you work with the sport, what are some of the sports brands you've kind of got a chance to work with in your career?
Yeah, both. Across at TikTok, it was great. We worked across all of North America, so pretty much anybody no NBA, no NFL, but all of their teams. And then NHL, all of its teams. We did World Surf League. We actually drew a huge amount of viewers organically for their world that got them onto. Really was able to get them onto the ESPN deal last year with I think they had 6.2 million concurrent viewers for their finals. And so a wide variety, but really supporting, we did the tune-in product last year was brand new, built that up. We were able to drive up ranking NHL playoff ratings pretty substantially, World Surf League, and then additionally subscription-based services. A lot of the teams now are doing more and more of those kind of insider subscription. And it is super important muscles for teams to start developing, because at least my read on the landscape, broadcast rights deals in the next 2 to 3 years are they're too expensive. And so they're all going to move to a performance basis, and you're going to get a fixed amount based on viewers you bring concurrently. And so it will become, it's great to be the New York Yankees, but if you're not activating your fans to show up at the game, you're going to make less than the team who has their fans show up. And that's what it's, in a lot of cases, it's becoming. And so, they should learn from college football. College football is years ahead of them on this, because all their fans leave and move to other parts of the world, and they have to get them tuned in on Sunday or Saturdays. And then on the other side of it, start your marketing and brand teams. I would ideally de-silo them and start to look for people outside of sports. The level of competition in e-commerce is much higher than it is for e-commerce dollars in sports. And so go out and get the people who have fought tougher competition and bring some of them in. Also, looking across the affiliate space for any of these folks. Oh my goodness, if you're looking for marketing people, affiliate people, almost to a T, know all their KPIs, know absolutely everything inside and out from a platform and attribution standpoint and what works. And so, there's a glut of talent due to these Google changes. So don't be afraid to reach out to them.
Yeah, no doubt. I love it. This is it's beyond interesting stuff, and it's changing quickly. Obviously, TikTok's come onto the scene. It's been a explosion. Right. Obviously, there's challenges ahead. What's your perspective on the ban and the conversations around the ban and alternative paths and what that could mean? I'm excited to talk to you about this juicy.
It's funny. So it's like the fourth ban. Like Trump did this 2020. I think this one is bound to fail on two fronts. Number one, free speech terms in our country. Like, the law doesn't ban Chinese companies from owning things here, because I think if they did, people who found China, I think all but 3% of TikTok is owned by U.S. entities in the U.S. Like Oracle handles all their data. There are a bunch of companies who came in, larger companies who did that. So I think the court cases will fail on First Amendment grounds. And then also, people will be really shocked to find out how many companies have 3% Chinese ownership. Like, there's a huge amount of Chinese investment in this country, and for good reason. You know, they're looking to make money on their investments. It doesn't worry me. If I'm being honest, like Temu scares me way worse. Like, whatever your fears are about TikTok, like, okay, remember what, like, I heard a senator say the other day, he's worried about it changing it could change teenagers' minds, which good effing luck changing a teenager's mind. Like, stop. And then on the other side of it, you've got Temu, who's spending $3 billion a month on Meta. Now they're pulling back in the US because they already got all the data. But we're giving them shipping data, payment information in exchange for a $4 dress that's worth 23 cents. It seems like a much greater threat to our economy. And so, like, American companies than a social media app that, you know, like, it's kind of like a bit of a boogeyman argument against TikTok. It's because they don't understand why people, like, how it works or what else, you know, what people are doing on it. They demonize it. When in reality, like, if Temu scares me way more for our future than anything else, because we love cheap crap. I've worked in coupons a long time, and you will never get an American to overpay for things.
I mean, do you think that they're gonna push them to divest further or take an action, or do you think it's just gonna be more discussion, status quo?
There's too much money. Like, if I own 97% of something, I'm, you know, there's too much money at play. There's too much traffic. And in reality, they have no evidence that the platform's done anything bad, right? And so all the data is handled by Oracle. Like, it never touches. You don't actually log in. You log in with Google or Facebook. Like, you're using, like, so it really, I think what they're missing, like, it's valuable because it's the biggest little TV set in the world, and it's got the most people watching it, and it garners all of their attention. And, you know, I think the boogeyman effect of, like, well, that could be exploited. Like, not so much. I changing American sentiment is really hard. Like, I don't know, if you've lived here since 2016, it's really hard to change people's minds on things. And so I wouldn't think that an app would do a better job. Like, a funny video is not going to all of a sudden, you know, switch people's views of things, right? And so it just seemed, I think they'll be sold. I'd be shocked. There are too many tech companies who would have a giant bag of money and would really kill for 50 million DAUs.
100%. I mean,
right.
Beginning of the year, talking about predictions in the newsletter, I was like, they're gonna talk about this all year. It got much more advanced and further along than I expected, and then kind of figured a divest or some type of event would happen where another U.S. company could take advantage. But I don't know. Yeah. You know, I don't know. It's interesting.
Oh, yeah. They haven't called me. Like, nobody's but yes, no. From that side, I like, there's too much attention and there's too much investment opportunity for a U.S. based company.
Yeah.
And
pull our money together. So, maybe the audience can put some money in. We'll put a
right. Just see if we can GoFundMe like $1 trillion.
Yeah, GoFundMe $1 trillion. Why not?
There you go.
GoFundMe
that makes sense.
Wouldn't mind. They'd probably be supportive of that.
Absolutely, right? I mean, yeah.
They might have to lower their take rate just a touch, but, you know.
A little bit, yeah. How far are y'all willing to leverage this thing?
Amazing. Cormac, what's kind of like a sliding door moment in your career where you had an opportunity and you kind of chose one of the others and maybe learned something in the process? I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey there and hear more about that.
I think a couple. Like, one, I definitely getting to launch my own app and going through kind of the investment, private equity incubator side of the world was definitely one, because it you know, those sort of things, there's a lot of random chance that goes on to an idea getting picked up or, opportunities being given. And so that was truly kind of one of those sliding doors, like, 2 train doors open. It was great. I very much, the app worked well. Every, kind of ended up dying in the crypto winter. Not that we were crypto in any way, but that just negatively impacted the whole investment landscape. But that was one because I got to see behind the curtain a little bit and understand the additional. I probably was too naive to the amount of pressure and communication and expectation private equity puts on brands that, likely I'm talking to them and, I can tell them something, but if I don't translate it for that private equity person, it's never going to get approved. And that, I very much like the team aspect. Being more solo with through the pre-seed and pre-launch. I miss being part of a team. That was really one of the bigger takeaways. And so it was fun. It was, I learned a ton. It was very educational. But, not saying I wouldn't do it again, but I would definitely, I would take more people with me from the get-go.
I love that. Yeah, I definitely resonate with the team aspect and the community and the collaboration. I mean, I was talking to someone recently that, Roundbarnlabs for me coming up on 10 years, there was only really 6 months. There was some building probably 6 months before launch, 6 months after launch, where it was me in a silo essentially, or more solo. And that was essentially it. And then from then on after, it was really certainly a team sport. And so it's cool to hear your journey with that and kind of seeing that as well.
Yeah, I don't do I do better, both from an accountability standpoint, but also creatively, just having more input and more opinions and, having a good roux, makes the best dish. And so I feel like the team gives you that, where in some cases, and, there are solo entrepreneurs out there who absolutely crush it and can do that. And, that yay for them. It's not what lights me up in the same way, the creative side of it but really that team aspect and watching people develop and grow, that's a big part.
That's awesome. And speaking of grow and develop, what are is there like a book or resource that you find yourself recommending to people, or you
there's
really
a couple
your decision on things?
Yeah, there's a couple that I always recommend to people that, I would assume that your listeners probably, the Malcolm Gladwells, the Michael Lewises of the world, they tell good stories, they have good things, and you can take away from it. Very much not downing on them or anything. I love their books, but I will call out 2 that probably get under recognized. At least in my estimation. The number one is a book called Why We Buy by a guy named Paco Underhill. And it is not complicated. It is not complicated. It is, he is masterful in his simplicity and explaining concepts. I absolutely love that book. I still reread it a fair bit. And reference back to it weirdly. And I'm also geeky to an extreme with marketing. And so I'm okay there. And then, man, I'm a big Freakonomics. Understanding the why of why things happen can make us a way better, way better marketers in general. And I've always found Stephen Levitt has always been one of my favorites. He's a University of Chicago professor, but not enough people really do behavioral economics and understanding, to put it in simpler context with coupons. Brands think that they're losing margin by putting out coupons, on a lot of sales. While on a handful that may be true, likely there's 3 different sets of buyers. And the coupon buyers wouldn't have transacted without them. The same way the early adopters clicked and bought immediately because it was cool. And rather than recognizing that, like, we may appeal to people in different ways, we tend to silo, overcomplicate, right? Like, there's going to be people who like these and people who don't. And so, but those are two books that really, really helped. The other one, and before I don't, Mark Pilipsuk, who very, very smart guy, has a ton of writing. And so if you go look at his blog, I will share it with you after so you can post the links. But his blog is fantastic and has a lot of knowledge and learnings. And if you are learning to learn about attribution or, proving value in your marketing spend, he is as good as it gets.
Amazing. Very cool. I love it. So helpful. Is there an item you bought recently that you're obsessed with?
Ooh. Yes. Weirdly, and I don't have it in my office. I cleaned up before the video started. Yes, I can tell you, and it's weird. I'm going to sound like a horrible shill, but it's an Austin-based product. It is called the Swingback. It is the world's best foam roller. It is amazing. It's patented. It was designed by a chiropractor, and he actually is one of the main chiropractors for PGA Tour, a bunch of other sports leagues. Does nice. A lot of athletes and others. So he really, and I'm not a golfer, but those dudes over-index and messed up backs, and so and ladies, whatever. Yeah. But they all mess their backs up routinely. He does a great job of keeping them on course, and I can tell you the swing back is positively amazing.
Love it. That's an awesome suggestion. Good stuff. I'm definitely something I would utilize, and I'm sure others would as well. What's something
that
maybe
get a cold plunge? Get a cold plunge. It's great. Free drugs.
Do you have one? Which one do you have?
I have a Grizzly cooler with a chiller hook to it, and so I have a Grizzly cooler out on and I actually put it in the garage, so I'll sit out there and that's my little man cave to go watch sports, and I put an 80-inch TV and a bunch of workout equipment and a sauna out there, and so oh dude, it's great. It does make me laugh a little bit. My wife brought this up that you work for years and years and years to get a really nice house. And then as soon as I got there and my kids got old enough, I abandoned them for the garage to go watch sports, because it's they'll come out and watch with me. But a lot of the sports I like to watch are when everybody's still asleep. I like, all the funny European things, like F1, rugby, and soccer that I watch all the time. And so it's always early morning, and so having my own space. Now they come join me, but yes, the irony was not lost on me. That you move to this beautiful area of the world, and you for better or worse hang out in a cooler in a garage, dude. And so it was fine. I can take the criticism.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
We'll have to check out some rugby sometime.
Absolutely. You have to come out. You have to come out by the dam. I'm right on Mansfield Dam. It is phenomenal. It's one of the best.
I definitely can't wait.
Favorite places in Austin. Also, as you come out here, Don Mario, best Tex-Mex in all of Austin, and they're right on 620 in Lakeway. They are phenomenal.
All right, we got an agenda for our next hangout. That's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Watch some rugby. Get
we
some
should do a little affiliate meetup.
Let's do it.
It'll be even closer for Brooke, because he only lives 5 hours from this side of town.
Affiliate meetups are hot right now. We're doing them on the quarterly basis. We'll do a Cormac one, and it's gonna be a blast.
Do one over there. But it's awesome. It's been this area of town has been great. It's taken a while to kind of grow up a little bit and get some services, but it's been I love it out here.
I'm always pleasantly surprised when I make it out on more northwest area, and where we are is kind of, I think, similar, cut from a similar cloth. Like, you've got a really nice home next to kind of a shack. You've got water. You've got trees. It's really fun. So we're lucky.
It's part of the Austin vibe, right? It's the magic I miss is when you could go to a restaurant and still catch a nail at the booth. And I understand that it's way safer and better to go now. I just I miss when it just felt raw. It was more raw. Yeah. And this there's still parts of that. I mean, there's still, and the great part, Spicewood, getting on, like, there's so much to explore around here that's awesome. That,
Absolutely.
But if people are thinking weirdly, you're not allowed to move here anymore. So for anybody watching, they've stopped selling houses. It's all full, totally everywhere. And
I snuck in at the
all
last
done with
minute.
that part.
It's over. This is awesome, man. So much good stuff. Where can folks find you that want to learn more about the agency and TikTok and what you're working on?
Yeah, absolutely. LinkedIn is super easy. You can book an appointment right there at the top of my profile. Also, the website's under construction. I've been a bit busier than I've had time to construct websites, so there's more to update. But really, TikTok is a discovery platform, yes, but from performance marketing standpoint, I can help you across Google, any of the platforms that are there, help you set up a top line strategy or correct your attribution, not correct, but correct your measurement to inform your attribution better. And so, happy to work with brands on that. I can also gamification using the free features to accomplish goals. Massively powerful, but really any outcome they want to drive, it's possible, kind of using a combination of approach, but TikTok will let you drive a ton of traffic for $0. So it's a pretty good option.
There you go. Got to hit the organic. Got to tap into TikTok if you're not. And got to talk to
It's
Cormac.
way easier to make your ROAS when you're not paying for anything.
There you go. Cormac, you're the man. It's been a pleasure. Always is. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ty. Yeah, let me know next time. Shoot me a text. We'll go grab some lunch here soon.